Hey guys, this is Goku, and on this channel we talk about poker and ideas that can improve your life. Today we're gonna jump into another GTO trainer session. We're almost done with the MP2 Open versus Button Call tournament spot played on 50 big blind stacks. We have just 50 hands left to play. We're gonna play 25 during this session, so let's jump right into it. First hand we've got Queen 10 suited on a 10-6-4. I think we're gonna bet 2.5 here. Checking is the ideal play. Betting a third of the pot is 16% of the strategy, so 50% of the time the solver bets 2/3 of the pot here. So that's cool. There's a 10 of diamonds on the turn, and do we continue betting here? Do we overbet, or maybe do we check? I think I'm gonna try and check and go for a check raise. Yeah, that's the ideal action. This is nice. The villain bets 8, so 2/3 of the pot, and we're gonna try and raise it to 25. And this is the ideal action. The solver likes this line and plays it always, almost always. Cool. Let's go to the next one. Pocket queens on a 7-ace-9. We're gonna bet a third of the pot. Checking would also be fine. We get raised. And do we fold our pocket queens here? Do we continue? I think it's fine to fold them here. Solver does it 55% of the time. Okay, pocket 8s on 4 tray ace. I think we're betting 2.5 here or checking. We get called. There's a 10 of hearts on the turn. I think we can sometimes continue here, sometimes check. I'm gonna check this time. Yeah, looks like we should only check here, 99.6% of the time. The villain checked behind. We've got a 7 of diamonds on the river, and I think we're gonna donk bet it here. And the solver doesn't like this line. Solver prefers just checking. And yeah, does that almost always. We get called by ace-8, so. Pocket 6s on deuce 10 tray. We're betting 2.5 or checking. The villain called. There's a 4 of clubs on the turn. We're gonna check. Solver checks here 62% of the time. Villain checks behind. And we hit our straight on the river, so we're gonna overbet the pot. And the solver actually prefers checking here. I think it's the ideal play. Played 51% of the time. Overbetting is just little under 1% of the strategy. It's not a big EV loss, but it's a rare play. It's probably better to check raise here. I think that's what the solver is going for. Ace-9 suited on a jack-king tray. Maybe let's check for a change. Yeah. The villain bets 2/3 of the pot now. Now do we call this with ace-9 suited? Or do we fold? I think we can sometimes call this. I think we fold like, what, 70% of the time, but let's try and call. Nope, this is a very, 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 very bad call. We should fold here 100% of the time. Good to know, good to know. And yeah, it's probably because we have to fold on most of the turns. Yeah. All right. 10 jack suited on ace-6 jack. We're gonna bet 2.5. It's the ideal action. 49% of the strategy. 9 of spades comes on the turn. I think we're going to check it here. Yeah, that's 98% of the strategy. Villain checks behind. And we have a deuce of clubs on the river, and we're gonna check again. The solver also only does checking here pretty much. and the villain checks behind and has pocket fives. Pocket threes on 4-7 ace. I think we're gonna check. Solver does it here with 72% frequency. This is the ideal action. We've got 5 of hearts on the turn. We pick up a gut shot, so actually double gut shot. So maybe we're gonna try and bet 5 at this spot here. Ideal action is a check, played 90% of the time. Betting 2/3 is very rare play and a small EV loss. 6-8 suited on tray 7 king with 2 spades, so we have a flush draw and a gut shot. I think we're gonna bet 2.5 here. That's the ideal action, but the villain folds. Pocket deuces on jack a6. It's gonna be a check. Yeah, and fold. Cool. Pocket kings on 5-7 jack rainbow. We're gonna bet 2.5 here. Yeah, betting 5.5 is better. It's the ideal action. 7 of clubs comes off on the turn. We're gonna continue betting. Bet 2/3 of the pot. Solver likes overbetting more, but that's the rest of the strategy. But villain folds. Ace deuce suited on 6-7 queen. I think we're gonna check now. Solver checks here almost 100% of the time with this hand. 6 of spades on the turn. I think we are checking again. Solver does 98% of the checking here as well. Villain checks behind. And we've got ace of hearts on the river. Is this a donk bot spot or a check? I think we're gonna donk bet it. Yeah, that's the ideal action, played 59% of the time. The solver, the villain now shoves all in. So we're folding easily. And we should be calling here less than 6% of the time, which is actually surprising. I would think it's fold more than 94% of the time, but yeah. Pocket deuces on 5-9 ace. We're gonna check them. That's the ideal action. Villain checks behind. Now we hit our set on the turn. Do we overbet the pot now? Do we check? Do we bet 1/3 of the pot? Let's think about this. I think we're gonna try and overbet it. Yeah, that's the ideal action. Play 97% of the time. So yeah, we shouldn't be thinking about other options in such a spot, but the villain folds. King jack on a 4, queen 5 is bet 2.5. Yeah. Villain calls. There's a 4 of diamonds on the turn. I think we're gonna check this time. Oh, the solver actually likes overbetting here 40% of the time. The check is played 10% of the time, and it's the same pretty much EV-wise as overbetting. There's a 9 of clubs on the river, and now I think we need to bet. But how much are we betting? Are we betting 2/3 of the pot? Yeah, I think we're betting 2/3 here. Again, solver likes overbetting 93% of the time. Bet 2/3 is just less than 2% of the strategy and a small EV loss. Pocket kings on queen 9-7 with 2 hearts. We're gonna bet 2/3 of the pot here, but the villain folds. Pocket kings again on queen 10-4 with 2 hearts. This time we're gonna bet 2.5. And the ideal action is bet 2/3 of the pot, so that's cool. But as we can see, this is pretty much similar EV loss 0, so it's the same. Ace 10 suited on queen tray 7, we're betting 2.5. Oh, it's a spot where the solver likes to bet 5.5, 40% of the time. There's an ace of hearts on the turn. Maybe we're gonna check it now. Yeah, that's the ideal action, played 49% of the time. But the villain checks behind. There's a 6 of spades on the river. And what's the play here? I feel like overbetting is the play. Let's see. It is not. It's small EV loss, but just less than 1% of the strategy. Betting 2/3 of the pot is the ideal action and 51% of the strategy. So in such a spot, we should just bet 2/3 of the pot. 10-9 suited on tray 8 king. We're gonna check this time. Betting 2.5 is 84% of the strategy. So this is a clear bet third of the pot type of spot. Now we hit our 10 on the turn and we're gonna bet a third this time. It's the solver actually prefers checking, but it's the rest of the strategy. We hit 2 pair on the river and I think we're going to overbet it. And the solver again prefers betting 2/3 of the pot, but this time, yeah, it's 25% of the strategy overbetting and also pretty no EV loss. So pocket sixes on 5 king 5. I think we're gonna check. That's the ideal action. Villain checks behind. 8 of clubs on the turn means we're gonna check again. 97% of the time. Cool. Villain checks as well. And there's a fourth club on the river, a tray of clubs. And do we bet at this now or do we check? I think this is a check. It is a check, 99.75% of the time. Villain checks behind as well and we win. Ace jack off on an 8-10-6 is going to be a check. It is a check 69% of the time. Villain checks behind. We hit our jack on the turn. So we're gonna bet 2/3 of the pot now. And solver likes overbetting. Here more, but betting 2/3 is 18% of the strategy, so not a bad play. Jack queen on an 8 ace queen is going to be bet 2.5 or a check. Villain calls our bet. We have a 6 of spades on the turn. We're gonna check. That's the ideal action. Villain checks behind. And there's a second 8 coming on the river. And maybe this is a spot where we overbet. Probably not with Jack Queen. We should probably just check. 56% of the time. And are we calling the half pot bet? I think we are. Maybe this is a re-raise type of spot. It's not. I mean, it's probably some, but yeah, calling is the ideal action, so that's cool. Queen 9 suited on tray 5 tray. We're gonna check it. Yeah, 75% play. King of hearts on the turn. I think we're gonna try and bet at this. And we're gonna try and bet a third of the pot. It's 11% of the strategy. Small EV, yeah, pretty much 0 EV loss. And we have we have an ace of clubs on the river. And do we bet now or do we check and give up on the hand? I think this might be a spot where we overbet it. Let's try and check it. Yeah, overbetting is pretty much zero EV loss, but just 3% of the strategy. As we can see, it's best to just donk bet here for a quarter of the pot. The solver does that 48% of the time. So there's that. Ace-6 of spades on a 7 tray king. We're betting 2.5. Solver likes betting 5.5 here. Does that 73% of the time. We get raised. We fold. We learned that the hard way at the beginning of this session. Similar spot. Ace-10 off on an ace-9-7. We're betting 2.5 or checking. King-queen off on a tray, queen tray. I think it's a bet 2.5. Bet 5.5 is better. 8 of diamonds comes on the turn. We're gonna check now. Solver likes betting a third of the pot, but just 12% of the time here. And a 4 of spades on the river, and now we're gonna just donk bet it. And this time the solver would prefer over betting, and we see he does that 90% of the time. But donk betting is small EV loss, but just 4% of the strategy. 6-8 suited on tray 5. We're checking it. And we are folding here. Yeah. Excellent, we've played our 25 hands for the day. So let's exit the session. Yeah, as we can see, the overall EV loss is not big. This is pretty much our average EV loss, minus 30 BBs per 100 hands. But as we can see, this session would actually be an excellent one if it wasn't for this one hand at the beginning, this ace-9 of clubs. Other than that, yeah, we just had this one hand of minus 0.074, but the rest, yeah, it would be an excellent session. But what can we do? Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. You can just write GTO. And if you're not subscribed already, please do so. This Learn WPT GTO trainer, as you can see, is a fun tool. This is the last, I think we only have last session to play of this MP2 Open versus button call, and then we'll do a brief summary of the most interesting hands from this 500 hands of the spot. I'm pretty sure this hand is gonna make that video. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Do you want to learn how to play PLO? Are you a beginner player who's never played Omaha before? Do you want to learn how to crush casual players easily? If so, this course is perfect for you. It's a crash course on Pot Limit Omaha dedicated for beginner players. You will learn all the fundamentals of PLO. You will learn what hands to play, when to play them, and how to play them. You will learn the basic strategies that allow you to be a winning player at your home games or microstakes online. If you want to learn PLO quickly and easily, get this course now at gokupoker.com.